And welcome back to the Murdy Creative Co podcast. I'm your host, Colin Murdy, and today's topic is that one customer. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who's supported the company so far. If you haven't got a chance, go check us out on the web at Murdy Creative Co. That's MURDY creative.co. Or you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram by searching at Murdy Creative Co to see the best of our product shots. Follow us to keep up to date with our daily photos and be the first one to know about new product launches. You can also use the subscribe button at the bottom of our website to be included in all of our new product announcements. Be sure to check out our laser engraving, personalization options, and exclusive colors on the website, or you can get a blank one on Amazon Prime. All right, so I've been thinking about this one for a little while. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do this podcast topic because obviously I know what my mother is going to say, which is you never want to criticize the customer, right? But this morning I just discovered that this person is no longer my customer. And I feel like it's a good story to tell. So I'm going to tell it, and I'm going to do my best to remove all references to any sort of gender or identifier. So I'm going to change the name. I'm going to do my best to not use any pronouns whatsoever. So you, as the person who's listening, have no idea who this is, but I feel it's important to tell this story. So listen in. All right. So this whole episode started in... it would have been May. Is that really right? Oh, wow. That's a long time ago. So sometime in May, a person reached out to us and said, I'm interested in ordering a Murdy number 2 with a full American flag design on the cover. I understand that there are a number of customization options available for this item, and it's a little difficult to make them all out. May I kindly request a clear list of customizable options for this item? Thank you in advance for your help, and I look forward to hearing from you. So, first and foremost, it's perfectly fine, perfectly reasonable request. Leah loves these emails because a lot of times we have continuously and ongoingly been updating the way the website looks and feels to help make sure that all of our options are as clear as they possibly can be. And we still get a lot of people who have questions, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. We actually would prefer you ask questions than just guess and be wrong and be unhappy. So we're fine with that, but we got this. So Leah, of course, reached out and followed up and said, thanks for reaching out. We'd be happy to help. We have below the listed options for the customization, and she included all of the colors, all of the engravings with some examples, different explanations of the inserts and the different choices, and explanations, of course, on the spine engraving and what that means, and she did a really good job. This person reached back out and said, thank you so much for the information. I'm definitely interested in purchasing this journal. I'd also like to add these different options. Is there any way around this particular item in design? And Leah, of course, responded that unfortunately we can't do more than 12 characters on the spine because the screws are in the way, which is a perfectly reasonable thing. And she created a little bit of a mock-up. And so she had... a long engraving that she put on the spine, and we worked on figuring that out. And then there was a different engraving that was going to go on the back. And she asked for a mock-up, and we did that, and we put together this mock-up. And so Leah goes back and forth for 3 days. This is a month later, by the way. So she reached out to us initially and didn't contact us back for a month. And then there was back and forth with the design, and just continuous changes. So now there's a lot of time that's been spent on this customer. There's been a lot of effort. There's been a lot of working with them, and we love doing that, right? But part of the reason why our model is, a flat rate without fee, no setup fees and no minimums is because for most of our customers, it's a relatively quick process. And there's always customers like this who really throw off the curve. And we've actually had to do, recently we've been doing time studies to figure out how much time Leah is spending on average with each customer to kind of sort through all of the design changes. And we've been working on figuring out if we need to reprice the custom engraving to accommodate the fact that there's a lot of people that require sometimes hours of design work because they don't have a clear idea what they're looking for. And so we may need to raise the cost of overall the custom engraving just because of the few customers that are kind of throwing off that curve a little bit and are requiring a lot more effort and a lot more work. And, the reason why is because at some level, it's not going to be Leah doing this in the future. At some point in the future, we're going to have a couple of customer service reps, and they're going to get paid by the hour. And if they're going to get paid by the hour, it means that they need to be able to produce, there's got to be the revenue on the other side of that equation. So that means that there's got to be an average custom order time that is something we can calculate and then, create that appropriate fee. So that's been something that we've been working back and forth. But So this customer we'd been going back and forth with for quite a while, and then there'd been, 8 revisions, something like that. So after all of these proofs and everything, we got it all cleared up, and we finally got a final proof and sent a custom order to this person, or a custom order link. And wow, there was a lot more mock-ups than I'd even previously estimated. I got to talk with Leah about this. She spent a lot of time on this one. Anyway, we finally get to the end of all of this, and she says, I appreciate your assistance throughout. It was truly appreciated. So we created the custom order link. She purchased. We sent it to her, and it was great. Then she said, I received my journal today, and unfortunately, I'm very disappointed with the quality of the product. I am writing to provide as feedback as a customer and to request a refund. Which is great. We love that. We're happy to help process refunds. We want people to be happy with their product. And so here we are. And so there was a 2 or 3 paragraphs that explained the issues. And I didn't know about any of this, by the way. I was not involved until the next email. So this had all happened entirely. Leah had been taking care of this customer. And then after we got this email, she goes, Colin, I think you need to take a look at this. So I did. So she said, my principal complaint is the quality of the materials used. I am shocked to find that I could not even hold the journal open without black pigment rubbing off onto my hands, surrounding areas and the garments I was wearing. I did not realize that touching the journal would stain my hands black. This is especially true in the areas where the flag design and my personalized engraving had been embossed. No kidding. Upon wiping the areas of the cover that had been embossed with a white towel, I could clearly see an egregious amount of pigment that was coming off. Second complaint, the pen that was added with the journal was a very nice touch, and the idea of having it help the item close is a clever one. However, the pen used and the width of the leather loop did not coincide. It was a very difficult time getting the pen to come off the leather loop because of its thickness, which left an unsightly indentation. I also found some glue-like smudge marks around the front cover. I'm assuming that at the least part of it can be cleaned off. However, the pigment issue is not fixable in my view. Lastly, despite the multiple proofs generated, my engraving on the spine was placed in a different place than indicated under my proofs. If you review our correspondence, you'll see that this is the case, blah, 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 blah. There were no errors in spelling, which I appreciated. As a small business, I would urge you to improve the quality of your product. I'm looking forward to ordering additional journals and even having personalized Bibles for my family made as wedding gifts. However, with the quality of your products as they are now, we cannot do that, let alone have them as heirlooms, blah, 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 blah. I really look forward to having the product. It was receiving it. Unfortunately, this is unusable. Request as fun as possible. All right. So I wrote an email back because, you know what? She brought up good points. I want to respond to them. I want to answer each and every one of the points that she brought up in an appropriate way because they're real concerns. First off, the engraving, absolutely our fault. That was absolutely our mistake. And it was because the engraving was placed not on the lower spine, but on the upper spine, right? So that's an unusual thing. And that should have been caught in production. It should have been caught in the proofs. That was our fault. Absolutely fess up to that. Normally, when we make a mistake in the engraving process, we will send a new replacement cover with the appropriate fixed engraving. That's our standard policy, our standard procedure. If we make a mistake, we will fix it without question. That's the way we do it. So already, when she said that, I'm like, perfect. We're going to make you a new cover anyway, unless you'd like a refund, which we're happy to process. But if the engraving is the issue, we can fix that. So I responded. Leah had mentioned your email to me, and I wanted to personally reply. First of all, I want to sincerely apologize, and we'll be happy to send a full refund. When Leah had mentioned that there were concerns with the pigment transferring, I was quite concerned as the color used in the tanning process shouldn't transfer unless it was soaked in water or other agent for quite a while. I'm thinking that perhaps she's talking about the actual tanning oils. But I knew she wasn't, so I just wanted to specifically include that. Upon reading your message, though, I realized that you are referencing the soot that is left over after the engraving process. We have a washing step after the engraving to help remove the excess soot, but with larger black areas, it can be more of a challenge. We are continually working on improving the composition of the washing solution that we use to remove the excess carbon, while at the same time leaving an even layer that won't smudge, so that the color of the engraving is an even tone. I will speak with the person who washed it and see if there was any insight into why you would continue to have soot smudging after it was washed. So that was the first step. Of course, we obviously acknowledged the problem. It was a problem. It's something we know about. We're working to fix it. Particularly with the large American flag design, this has been something that has been continually a problem for us because the flag is so large, it's massive, and it creates a huge area where the laser has to literally remove an entire segment of the leather. We have come up with a variety of washing materials, and this actually spawned an additional revision of those that solution that we use as a washing solution to help pull the carbon out while maintaining the bottom layer of the leather, because you want to leave that nice even tone of soot at the bottom that doesn't come off. Like you want to be able to rub your finger on it and have it not rub off, but you also want it to be an even color, so otherwise it looks patchy and it looks weird. So that was something that we know about, we were working on fixing. The pen issue is one that we're working on resolving. This was a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. We have found that the leather, when it is humid or hot, can swell slightly, which does make it more difficult to remove the pen. This seems to be worse on the new items, and after about 2 weeks of use, the pen holder leather seems to settle into a more comfortable pressure with the pen in place. The glue-like substance is saddle soap, which we use to condition the leather before it leaves the shop. Normally, it should be dry within 24 hours, which usually happens during the shipping process. But we recently did an audit and found that the thickly applied stuff, if kept warm during shipping, seems to remain in a more thick state. This should have been more thinly applied, and any excess should have been wiped away. I will also bring this up with the team as we discuss your order. So, some of those concerns are absolutely, we understand all of them, right? Those are good things. I'm glad she brought those up. We can wipe away the residue. That's something we've actually changed in the process, where we make sure to visually inspect for any of the excess saddle soap and make sure to wipe that away. And as far as the pen issue, that was an issue with the new Made in USA leather. It's quite a bit thicker and fancier. So what we've done now is we have a tool that we use to intentionally wear in the pen holders a little bit before we insert the pen, which helps make it a little bit better. So some of these things actually spawned change in our process. So like I said, we appreciate the feedback. The engraver error was entirely our own, and we're very sorry about that. We had a very clear breakdown in our communication internally. Normally, when we have custom orders, the engravings are in the usual spot. Or normally, when we have custom engravings with engravings in unusual spots, there's a checklist to follow to make sure we engrave them correctly. This should not have happened. If you would like, I'd be happy to refund you in full. Alternatively, I would be happy to send a replacement cover that I will personally review. With this replacement, we'll make sure to fix the engraving mistake, as well as the soot. I can pre-stretch the pen holder with the new technique we are testing, and I will make sure that we allow the saddle soap to fully dry before it's set. We appreciate you sending your concerns so we can work on making this right. All right, so I sent back saying we're going to take care of this. Then, the response was, thank you for your message. I appreciate you taking the time personally to respond to my message. If there is any way that we can have the product remade without the aforementioned issues, I'd like that. Considering the fact that it sounds like some of the issues of the products are still being worked out, perhaps it'd be easier to go with the smaller design, the smaller American flag. And that's the change that we made. So she was okay with that, and we made that change. Same specs for the engraving. We'd like to fix the mistake engraving. That was understandable. I would expect that too. I hope to be able to support your company moving forward. Please kindly confirm. Thank you very much, I said. So I said to Leah, can you send this along? Can you get the proper files made for this? And that was the case. And then I responded, thank you so much for the opportunity to make this right. I was able to spend some time in the shop today working on your new cover. We've corrected the engraving position mistake for the spine and used the same file as before. I like your idea about the smaller flag. The large flag has engraved so much area that it does create a lot of excess carbon. When I washed the smaller flag, it seemed to be completely clean. I used the saddle soap as well to give it a nice polished look. But the layer is thinner, so it should dry quicker and be matte by the time it arrives. I have it sitting overnight to allow the polish to fully dry, as well as to give the pen loops some time to stretch in the tool. Tomorrow, I will review the final version and get the replacement cover sent as well. Once we have it on its way, we'll be sure to send you updated cover or tracking information on the cover. Thank you for your patience and willingness to work with us and solve this. We appreciate our customers, and we're always working to improve our process. So the feedback is very important to us. To further help make our effort, we wanted to extend a coupon off your next purchase as an apology, and the shortcomings of our small business, and all those other good things. Hope you have a wonderful day. That was the last we heard. Then, about 3 weeks later, we sent the cover. We didn't hear anything back. And then about 3 weeks later, we get a notification from our Square, our credit card provider. It says that the bank has flagged a transaction, and the customer is stating the reason is that they have no knowledge of this charge. So I look at the charge, and guess whose it is? It's this customer. So rather than coming back to us and saying, I'm unhappy with the replacement cover, please give me a refund, and we would have happily done that, this person goes to the bank and says, I have no knowledge of this charge. So we do what any responsible business does. They asked us. We gave them all of the information. I sent them this entire email chain proving that we'd had correspondence. I sent all of the information that we had that the customer had provided to us, including phone numbers and things like that, addresses, shipping addresses, phone numbers, all of the information that we had on the credit card and things like that. So we sent that all to the bank. And 90 days later, I get a letter from Square this morning saying that the bank has sided with the customer. And I have no idea how. And my first thought was, well, this is going to make a great podcast topic, because it just seems so absurd that the bank would side with the customer because the customer's complaint was they had no knowledge of the charge, which obviously is not the case, because there's correspondence after they made the charge, right? There's a correspondence with us after the case where we specifically had talked with them about it. So they obviously had knowledge of the charge, but that's beside the point. I think the moral of the story here is there will always be customers who, no matter how much you work to solve the problem, will be unhappy. That's just the case. I think it's important for companies to engage in an honest dialogue with their customers about things that go wrong and work to solve them, and continue to evolve the process. We've been working on continuing to solve the problem, and most of the stuff that leaves our shop now is we've changed the process. We fixed the pen holder issue. We worked through a lot of these different things. So it's that feedback that helps us grow too. I'm not criticizing her feedback. That was a perfectly acceptable thing. The criticism, of course, is that the way it was handled was not appropriate with the bank, and that's going to be the case that you're going to have. There's just going to be some people who are going to be unhappy, and you have to let it go. You have to be willing to just take the loss and realize that you did your part, you did your best, and you can only feel that way if you've actually done your best. So do the right thing. It's always the right thing. And do your best, because then when these kinds of things happen, at the very least, you can say, you know what, I tried. And that way you can sleep at night, right? Anyway, the joys of small business. I'm sure there will be many more of these in the future, because that's the reality of it. There's always going to be a percentage. You just have to play the odds. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in today. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in today. Be sure to check back in tomorrow for our next topic, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below to get the latest podcast right away. If you have any questions or concerns about your leather binder, please feel free to contact us on the main page of our website at Murdy Creative Co. Or you can contact us via our Instagram and Facebook. You can text, email, call, direct message, all the usuals, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible, but I do appreciate your patience. If you think I deserve it, a good review can go a long way to help us grow our new community, and word of mouth is still the best form of advertising, so please tell your friends. That being said, if you have any podcast topics you want to hear more about, send them my way. I'm always happy to engage with our growing community, and I want to give you guys what you want. If you're looking for multiple binders for gifts, giveaways, menus, really any reason, ask about our bulk discounts available. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and goodbye.